All right, this is going to be the X-Book comic book, and it's a special way of folding the paper called the X-Book. But we're going to start off, we'll watch some background information about comic book characters and how comic book vocabulary is, what it is, and how comic book pages are laid out. But in its simplest form, any shape that you can draw, you can turn into a cartoon letter. If I was to draw the letter B here, or a heart shape, any shape can be turned in. You need eyes, you need nose, you need mouth. You got all sorts of information on the internet. All you have to do is type in how to draw cartoon eyes, and you'll get pages and pages of eyes. How to draw cartoon noses. You get pages and pages of cartoon noses to look at. How to draw cartoon mouths, and you'll get pages and pages of mouth designs that you can draw. So everything, even we got animal styled faces and noses and mouths that you can draw, and ones with mustaches or with teeth. All sorts of references are on, or information, background information is on the internet for you to come up with the ones you want. But all you have to do is every character has got to have some eyes. So you can decide to put some eyes. I'm going to put his eyes right here. And you got to put a nose on the character. So we're going to pick a nose over here. And we're going to draw a nose inside here. And then we're going to pick a mouth. Oh, let's make this open part here of the character his mouth. So we're going to put some teeth in here. And we'll make this part of the B, that's the mouth and the tongue. There's his eyes, there's his nose. So it's so simple to create a cartoon character. So you got to have an idea. So here we'll do another one. Here we got some cartoon eyes. You'll do a different type of eye. We'll do some ovals. And a lot has to do with the way the eyebrows are done. And here's another nose, and here's a mouth. All right, so it's really simple to draw a character. So anybody can make a comic book. You just got to come up with a character. So the directions for the assignment are that one, we got to have some character development. So you need to come up with two characters, because you're going to have two characters talking to one another in your comic book. You can also have a narrator describing what the action is going in. We'll talk about narration boxes. But you're going to have two characters, and the character development of your two characters, you need to draw 4 facial expressions for each character. Your comic book would be so boring if in every frame your character had the same facial thing going on. Same eyes, the nose is always going to be the same, but you can change the direction of the nose, but the eyes and the mouth can change in every one. So here's Mango Man. You're drawing a mango shape. Different eyes, his nose is the same, different mouth. There's character development, so you have to have 2. So here's Banana Man. Banana Man's got different mouths, different noses, different eyes, same nose, but different mouths and eyes. So there's my 2 characters. So now that I have my character development done, I got 2 characters. You take and you fold the paper into fourths. You fold your paper in half. You fold it in half. You fold it in half the other direction. You got 4 equal spots where you can put a character. There's my character development. Once I have my 2 characters and my 4 facial expressions, I can move on to designing a front cover and a back cover with 6 pages of interaction. Okay? So there's 6 pages. You have to have a storyboard, a layout on sketch paper divided into 4 spaces. So we're going to talk about all that when we talk about a storyboard. But the first step is to get your character development done. All right, so we get your character development done. You got Mango Man, you got Banana Man, and you're ready to go. So now you have to come up with a storyboard or a flow chart. So what's going to be on each page of your comic book. And it doesn't have to go into a lot of detail. And again, just like all the projects we do, when we start off with a sketch, this is to show you a map or a blueprint of where you're going. All right, so I got my Adventures of Mango Man. See, I left the S off. I can rearrange my letters, but this is my idea going down on paper. I might have more detail in the background and have Mango on the front. So then on page 1, there's Mango Man. He says, knock, knock. You're going to have to write a story because you have a conversation going between two characters all the way through your pages. So there's that interaction. It can be as simple as a knock, knock joke. I'm not asking you to write, a Shakespeare play. Who's there? Joe. And over in the next page, there's page 1, page 2, page 3. Here's page 4. It says Joe who? Joe Mama is page 5. Ha ha ha. Now your back cover is an advertisement. There's always an advertisement on the back cover and usually on the inside front cover of a comic book because they're selling ad space to make money along with the price you pay for the comic book. You're also paying, the ads are helping to pay to make it a viable operation. So now I have my storyboard or my flow chart. I know what's going to be on each page. That's what's on page 4. That's what's on page 5. Now with this special type of comic book, you're going to have the option to do a 12 by 18 sheet of paper or an 18 by 24 sheet of paper. And it gives you 2 different size comic books, which we'll show you here in a second. But all the comic books start off like this. This is a large piece of paper. It's 12 by 18 inches long. It's 18 inches long, 12 inches tall, and it gets cut. It gets divided into 8 panels, and it gets cut in the middle. But the cut is the very last thing you do. But it's vitally important that you have it laid out in this order because it gets folded up and pressed together. There's what they call it, the X book, and then everything lays in place. So now when it's folded up, you don't have to have a stapler. This doesn't have to be stapled like modern comic books. There's your front cover. You open it up, there's page 1. Turn the page, there's page 2. Turn the page, there's page 3. There's page 4. And there's page 5, there's page 6, and there's your back cover. Now, some of you may have so much going on in your story that you need to use this back cover to be the last page of your comic book, and that's okay. But you can't have the end or back cover on your design. It's got to be some kind of art that you have going on. Now, there's also ways we'll see when we start talking about the vocabulary of having panels. Now, this is a gutter. You should have gutters in between all of your panels on your comic book. This is where they're dividing up the last page into 2 pages. So there could be picture and story up in this area and picture and story over in this area with characters interacting. So that gives you more pages. They call that dividing up a panel. So you can have that in your design. All right. So real simple. This layout and this pattern, do you notice that these lettering up here is upside down, whereas this is right side up? Because when you fold this in half, watch what happens. When you fold this in half and you close it together, there's that X, everything is right side up. There's the front cover. There's page 1, there's page 2, there's page 3, there's page 4, there's page 5, and the back cover. So if you don't lay this out when you get to this page, I'm not going to give you the large paper until you have shown me your storyboard, and you're not going to be able to do a storyboard until you show me your character development. So you're going to have to show me both of those items before I give you this big paper. And I cannot tell you, there's always maybe 10% of the class that doesn't follow the directions, and they end up doing this, and half of their comic book is upside down and out of order. It really is simple. This format will be on the board for you to look at. Notice again, the numbers are upside down, the numbers are right side up. It gets folded in half, and when it's folded in half, everything is right side up. It X's in the middle. See the X that's created? That's why they call it the X book. No staples required. All right. So now, let me show you what we're going to go talk about, the storyboard and putting together a story. Let me show you some examples of what some students have done in the past. And it can be as simple as And you got some students who, have been drawing cartoons forever. And here's an example of, this has been taped together, so it was probably put together wrong. And we had to cut it apart so that it would work right when we folded it up. Here are some things that should be corrected on it. You see, a comic book has a black outline. There should be a black outline around this area here, just like he's got a black outline around all these pieces. There's a black outline around his mouth, around his eyes, but there's no black outline up here or up here. And we want to try to stay away from Sharpie, and we want to use an ink pen. Sharpie lines are usually too big and too dark. So there's the front cover. You open it up, there's page 1. Again, this is so dark and so loud, you probably could make these characters bigger if you weren't having that so big and so dark. Alright, so there's the next page, and you see each one of the pages, you got different eyes going on, different facial expressions. Makes for an interesting comic book. So there's your 8 pages. They didn't have room. They wanted to tell their last page of their story is the last page. They don't have an advertisement on the last page. And the advertisement could be as simple as saying, here, look for our next comic book. Next month's comic book issue is going to look like this. So now, we always have had some students in the past that have done awesome, fantastic work, because they're probably drawing comic book characters long before we even had this project. They do it all the time. So here's Blown Away. And let's see, this is like Joe Reese. So look at all this. Now, this is page 1 and page 2. There'd be a fold here. So I don't have a problem with anything that's going on yet. Look at all the detail on the back cover. This is the back cover. He's got the barcode and the ratings, and there's a date it was done and how much it is in America, and just fabulous details. He's got his copyright number here on the page. Turn it over to the next page. Now, the only thing I would say different is you see a little bit of a gutter line right here separating these 2 pages. So there should be a white space in between here instead of, because these backgrounds are so close it kind of blends together. There should be a little white gutter in between these when you're splitting these pages up. Like it's done a little bit there, but it's not done here. So that would be something could be done to make that comic book better. And again, see if you had a white space in between there, that would work out. It's better with these inset pages, these blow up or close ups. It would work a lot better if they had a white space in between there. Now, there doesn't need to be a white space between here because this is different pages. And there'd be a fold right here. But look right here, there's a little bit of a space, but they need a space in between these for the gutter. And we're going to talk about the gutter when we talk about the vocabulary of a comic book. Now here's another example of someone. Now this is the bigger format. This format is the 12 by 18 format. This is the size you're able to work to. And this is the format that is 18 by 24. It's twice the size of the paper. So you got more room. Again, there probably should be a white space in between these gutters. And on this page, it's got 1, 2, 3, 4 panels instead of 1 panel. So they're telling a lot of story in this. And you can tell this is a student that probably reads comic books a lot, draws comic book characters a lot. And when they saw that we were doing this project, they just did backflips. They were so happy that we were doing this. I'll probably get some skin color in there for the hands, flesh tone. And again, I'd have a white gutter, an actual space of white in between. When you're separating out a page like this, they should be separated out with a white gutter. All right, there's some more characters for page 4. There's page 5. And again, get that white space in between there to separate out those panels. And there's page 6. And the very last page. That's all, folks. That's coming attractions. Next, trying to sell other comic books. There's the barcode. Just a fabulous, fabulous comic book. All right. Now, for those people that are at home, you're not going to have the availability of a 12 by 18 inch paper or a 18 by 24 inch paper. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our regular size paper, that's our computer paper, that is this size, it's 8.5 by 11, and we're going to tape 4 4 sheets together. 1, 2, 3, 4 sheets together. Now, you can see how this tape is done. We've left a big hole in the center. This is the X part. This is what's going to fold. Alright, so I've got a little design right here showing you. You take your 4 pieces of paper. Paper 1 is folded in half. All the 4 papers are folded in half. Then you lay the papers out. You tape here and here. You tape here and here. Now you have 2 long pieces of paper. You tape this way and this way. You tape this way and this way. And now these 2 papers are connected with a hinge. These 2 papers are connected with a hinge. These 2 and these 2 are connected with a hinge. And this part through the middle is open. And that's where we'll do our X box. Our X fold is going to be done right here in the center. We got to have those to where they'll open up, like this and fold that X. So you'll be able to do the same project with 4 sheets of your computer paper that you've been working on at home, if you follow this format. Now all this stuff is going to be on eCampus, all of this in the video, all these directions, plus there's going to be the vocabulary video from Stan Lee, the creator of Marvel Comics and Spider-Man. So let's go out and become cartoon comic book artists. Let's have some fun. Bye.